What makes a good wine list? I have no idea, but let's talk about it. There's a new masterclass for wine. That's over at masterclass.com. And let's pair popcorn and wine for movie night. Is it a date? All that and more on This Week Uncorked. Hello and welcome to episode 22 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, December 16th, 2024. From Cork and Journey, I'm Brett Martin, and Cork and Journey is your number one source for restaurant reviews, winery reviews, and of course, Corkage fees. We also have wine reviews as well, but if you're going to a restaurant, you want to know what the Corkage fee is, head over to corkandjourney.com, and most likely we have it there for you. And with that, let's get into the news, shall we? The Wine Pair has a great article. They asked 10 somms, what's a green flag for them when they're looking at a wine list? In other words, when they're looking at a restaurant wine list and they're going through it and they're looking, there's that one bottle and they go, oh, that's it. This person knows what they're doing. They put together a beautiful wine list, evidently, because it's got this bottle in it. And it's really funny looking through the list because so many of the wines listed in there are Rieslings. I want to say 4 or Rieslings out of the 10 that they chose out of the whole thing, because Somms love their Rieslings. I have no idea why they love their Rieslings so much, but they do love their Rieslings and it's in there. You know, for me, when I'm looking at a wine list, I want to see a nice selection from Chateauneuf-du-Pape. That tells me something about what they've done there as well. You know, if you're going through and you got one bottle in there, I'm like, I don't know. But it's kind of hard to tell across the board. From the article, basically, it's when going out to a bar or restaurant, there are a number of red flags that can put a damper on the whole experience. On the other hand, some signals could indicate good times ahead, whether that be a friendly server, complimentary bread service, or a stellar wine list. But what makes for a standout wine program rather than scanning dozens of pages on a binder-sized menu? Wine professionals can typically determine the quality of the list by singling out a specific selection or bottle. So section or bottle, it says, and that's kind of the key right there. I think it is, for me, it's that section. I always head over to CDP, see what's happening there, and then I kind of got a good idea. Plus, it's very hard to go wrong, and you usually can get a reasonably priced bottle, assuming that most restaurants are 3x markup. So if you got a bottle of Chateauneuf-du-Pape and it's $50 retail, it's probably going to be $125 to $150 on the wine list. So you can still kind of go through and go, okay, that's going to be a good one if you know those, and kind of at least guaranteed you're going to get a nice bottle of wine with your dinner. Also, moving on, PR Newswire has announced that Masterclass launches a new Sommeliers Snob-Free Guide to Wine, presented by Master Sommelier Emily Wines. Yes, that's her real last name. Huh? I'm a little jealous of that, I gotta say. Anyway, from the press release, she says, I think that wine is for everyone and for every occasion. This class comes at a perfect time with the holidays right around the corner, and aren't they, though? To me, the holidays are all about the connection and celebration, and this class prepares you for both. Members will learn to pick wines that elevate their meals and make perfect gifts, all while gaining the confidence to navigate any wine selection stress-free. Haven't checked out the class. I actually haven't subscribed to Masterclass in a while. I will tell you, I did several years ago. And James Suckling, he used to be the main wine guy over at Wine Spectator. He's gone off on his own now. He's got jamessuckling.com, kind of real big. When you go into the grocery store and you see scores, oftentimes it's James Suckling. His score is that big one that's, that label they stuck on the bottle. But he has a masterclass as well, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. He kind of takes you through all aspects of everything, and it's much more detailed and intricate than it sounds like this other course is going to be, but the other course sounds like it might be fun. And before we move on with the news, quick plug to our buddy Rex Pickett over at rexpickettbooks.com. He wrote the novel Sideways, which became the movie Sideways, which just celebrated his 20th anniversary. Anyway, if you want to get a copy of his books, he's got 4 books in the Sideways series. You can head over to rexpickettbooks.com. Use the code CORK10 to get 10% off your entire purchase. He's got other things over there, coffee mugs and posters and all kinds of stuff. But then he will autograph the books for you and write anything you want. No effing Merlot, whatever you feel like putting in the book, he'll do that for you. That's rexpickettbooks.com. And moving on with the news, a historic Paso Robles winery is listed for sale for $4.25 million. Pretty nice, 10 and a half acres. It comes with a tasting room. It's Midnight Cellars in Paso Robles. And I wanted to bring this one up because I was reading several articles this week about a lot of wineries are starting to come on the market. And a lot of the owners have unrealistic expectations as to what the value of their wineries are going to be. It's because a lot of these small wineries, they're all direct to consumer. They're really not out in any distribution at all. They're not in grocery stores. They're rarely in restaurants. If they're in restaurants, maybe just locally where they originate from. And so kind of a interesting take, and that a lot of these they're coming out for $6 million, $8 million, $9 million, these small little boutique wineries, and they're just not getting the asking price. This, though, does look like a beautiful property. The funny thing is, I hadn't heard of Midnight Cellars, and I've been to Paso a lot, and we've reviewed a lot of wineries in Paso, but it is 10 and a half acres in Paso Robles, so who knows? But with the grape glut that's going on and the wine glut that's going on, you're seeing a lot of people just kind of throwing up their hands and saying, you know what? We're selling it. We're out. We're moving on. But if you want to buy a winery, you might want to check this one out. If you got an extra $4.5 million just laying around. And let's wrap it up with an article from VinePair. Movie theater drinking is bigger, better, and more novel than ever. This article really discusses the trend that's happening across the nation in movie theaters, where you can go in, get a cocktail, get a glass of wine. Oftentimes they're serving you during the movie, kind of sneaking around real low. They usually come in before and then in the middle of the movie as well. You can push a button to summon them to bring you your favorite cocktail or food or wine or whatever you're looking for. But kind of an interesting trend in that entire thing. I mean, honestly, you have to ask yourself, what wine goes well with popcorn? Well, guess what? There's a bonus link in the today's show. So if you get the newsletter, if you're just looking at the show notes, Wine Enthusiast actually did an entire article on what wine pairs with popcorn. And they put a nice little infographic up there as to what goes, depending, are you having just buttered popcorn, a little savory popcorn, caramel popcorn, whatever it is. Anyway, there evidently is a wine for every style of popcorn. And with that, let's get on to our wine and winery of the week. All right, so from Paso Robles to Jerome, Arizona. So we're going to do Caduceus Cellars in Jerome, Arizona. This is kind of a rock star winery. This is Maynard James Keenan. He's the lead singer of Tool. And this guy has gone into basically Jerome, Arizona, and transformed this place into kind of Jerome's little wine capital of the world. It's almost like a little mini Solvang sitting up on top of this hill, where you have basically all of these wineries have tasting rooms there. They don't make the wine there, really. There are a couple. We'll talk about that in a second. But most of the wine is made in southern Arizona, which runs along that mountain range that runs basically through the bottom of Arizona and through the bottom of New Mexico and through the top of Arizona. And that's the grape growing region for those three states. But they have tasting rooms up in Jerome, and this has kind of like become the little resort capital for people to come up to. And all really started because of Maynard James Keenan. He basically was the guy who kind of got everything going there. He's kind of the godfather of the town, has money, has invested in it. He actually does have some vineyards in the Jerome area, and he's doing some interesting stuff up there. And really, if you get a chance to go to Jerome, beautiful little town. It's small. You can walk the whole thing in half a day, but nice tasting rooms, some really nice restaurants up there. We've got plenty of reviews on them over at Corkage. But there is one winery up there that actually has a taste. It's Page Spring Cellars. We've reviewed it before. It's been on previous these shows. You can also look it up over on Corkage. They're doing some really incredible wines, and they actually have vineyards in Jerome, just right outside Jerome. You're maybe 10, 15 minutes. And they've got a really lovely tasting room, and they do some really, really nice wines there as well. But if you're up there, check out Caduceus, check out some of the other wineries around, some great restaurants. I'm not sure if we have a Jerome, a perfect day in Jerome article, but we should probably put one together. But if you just search Jerome, Arizona, it'll give you everything we've got from there. So if you're ever heading into northern Arizona, check out Caduceus and check out Jerome. And our wine of the week is going to be the 2021 Fess Parker Crockett. So we've been to Fess Parker several times. Every time we go to the Solvang area, we head out to San Ynez Valley, go down Fox and Canyon, check out all the wineries that are out there. It's a beautiful drive, beautiful location. Fess Parker's done a complete remodel. And anyway, the last time we were out there, I had not had their Crockett before. So this is kind of their higher end blend. So this is Syrah and Petite Syrah. And they just did an exceptional job. They actually were pouring I don't want to say a 2011 or 2010 as well when we were there. We picked up a couple bottles of this 2021. It did not last the day. We bought it. We took it to dinner with a bunch of people. And man, it's just a delicious wine. It is around the $90 price point, but we gave it 95 points. We had 6 people at the table tasting through this. They were just like, wow, this is an amazing wine. So it really just outstanding. And oftentimes you don't think about that with Fess Parker, but they do make some really amazing wines. Yes, they're in supermarkets. Yes, they have some mass production, but then they also they're more boutique. And because you're not going to find the Crockett in grocery stores, but if you are there, stop by their tasting room. It's beautiful, great experience, and you can definitely try out the Crockett. It's amazing. With that, let's get over to our restaurant and Corkage of the week. All right, Cyrus. It's a Michelin-starred restaurant. It's in Geyserville, California. So if you're staying in Sonoma, you've got about a 35, 40-minute drive to get out to this restaurant. But man, oh man, we have done a ton of Michelin-starred restaurants. We're lucky and have kind of gone out to these. And, if you follow us, we're mostly disappointed. It's like, really, it's just not worth it. You're spending so much money and the pairings are just overpriced. But this is a whole different experience. Really, across the board, we were there with 2 other couples. We all walked out saying, best experience we've ever had at any kind of restaurant, period. Michelin star, any kind, just absolutely amazing. And it is an experience. You go in and you kind of go into like a little cocktail lounge, and that's kind of where your little first course starts. And then after you do that, and they're serving you got the pairing. So you're getting served, champagne and caviar to start, and then some other things. And then they move you into what was kind of like a chef's table kind of thing. And you go through that entire experience. And then once you're done with the chef's table, you move into the main dining room and you go through that experience. I want to say 17, 18 courses by the time it's all done. It's just crazy. Then when you're finished, on the way out, they walk you into the chocolate room where you don't really sit. You just kind of stand, you get some chocolate, and you go around, but they've got a huge chocolate waterfall in there. It's kind of like you've been transported to Willy Wonka land. But overall, service is impeccable. Food is amazing. One of the few places I would recommend a wine pairing across the board, just that good. If you do want to bring a bottle, they do have a corkage fee. It's $100 per bottle, but there's no limit. And that might be a really expensive corkage fee, but a lot of the Michelin stars are at $200 a bottle. You figure they're doing usually a 3x markup. So if you have a really nice bottle of wine, a $200 bottle of wine, it's probably going to be on that list for $500, $600 anyway. So, bring it in. You'll still save money at the end of the day, kind of, sort of, anyway. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for this edition. We're just right around the corner from Christmas. I want to thank everybody so much for joining us. As always, we would love it if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, as well as follow us on all your favorite social media apps. Thanks so much. Cheers.